Another bright spot podcast.
Another bright spot.
Another bright spot.
Podcast.
Hi, I am Neil, and welcome to the next episode of another Bright Spark podcast. Our guest today is founder of Tech Explorations. It's Peter Delmaris. Peter, welcome to the podcast.
Good to meet you, Neil. Thanks for having me on your podcast. Very excited.
Broadcasting from Australia as well. Where are you based, Peter?
Yeah, so I'm in Sydney right now. I'm about, 40 minutes out of Sydney CBD up on a mountain. It's winter here, down under. Rainy, cold day, so it's good to be in and talking about technology.
Yeah, fantastic. I gotta say thanks for joining us. So, Tech Explorations, you set up in 2013. It's a YouTube platform. Why did you decide to set up the company?
Well, we got back like over 10 years now. I can't believe how time has gone so quickly.
Mm.
So the idea behind Tech Explorations was basically to scratch an itch. I'm a geek. I like to learn about stuff. But in addition to that, I'm also an educator. So I spent about 15 years prior to starting Tech Explorations as a lecturer at the various universities here in Sydney. At some point, I got tired of lecturing the same stuff to my students. Yeah. Technology was just going so quickly past me. I felt like I was falling behind. And academia is a great place to be if you are lucky enough to have, I guess, a research lab, so you can be at the forefront. But for the rest of us, it's like, okay, I'm doing the same subject for the sixth time. And no one
can. You're sort of trapped in a time bubble type thing. Then
exactly. It was It was pretty annoying. I felt like I was trapped, as you said. So I decided to start Tech Explorations at about the same time as the Maker movement started getting traction. I got my first Arduino a few months prior to actually deciding to leave academia and start an online education career. And I wanted to combine the two, education and technology exploration. So I created Tech Explorations as the vehicle. So what Tech Explorations ended up being, actually, it was like that from the beginning. It's just I decided to record my lectures and my lessons instead of doing them live. The reason for that is twofold, basically. One, I decided to never repeat myself ever again after the university experience.
You'd had enough.
I'm only going to say things
down on tape. Yeah.
It's just one sentence. You could play, replay, rewind, whatever you want, but I'm not going to say the same thing again. Yeah.
So
it was
to
rich.
say as well, isn't it? It's so broad, the subject that,
If I want to continue exploring, I can't go back, covering the same stuff again. So, so it was a big incentive. And the second one was reach. Obviously, starting from scratch, I could not rely as a business to do the coaching thing that it was quite common back then, where you'd say, I'm a coach, I'm going to teach you mathematics, electronics, whatever it is, science, for your school exams. So that was not viable for me. And if I did that, I would have to repeat the same stuff again and again. So it violates rule number one. So that's how it started. Now, back then as well, I was lucky in terms of timing. So timing was good. At about the time as I was exploring ways to basically promote my content. It was, of course, YouTube. The problem with YouTube was that the pay was kind of iffy. Like I wasn't sure if as a YouTuber I'd be able to pay the bills. But other online education platforms starting popping up. So there's quite a lot of competition, still is, but one kind of stood out, and that was Udemy. So I was one of the first people to actually join Udemy and go on it full time. So that's why I said I was lucky with the timing, but I think I had a good formula in terms of the kind of content that I put out. kind of resonated with makers, which was also good timing. It's the beginning of the maker revolution, as I call it. So I have to admit, like, it was not planned, but when I look at it back now, like look 15 years back, I feel very lucky for being at the right place at the right time. And I just to put one more thing that happened at the right time, I got very sick of university. There were a few things that happened there. So I'm out. And those other things happened that are good timing. So yeah, it worked out good.
Our engineers, a few of our engineers certainly watch your channel, and you've got quite a decent following. You know, they use it as like a reference point, and you know they really enjoy it. Specifically, MD Neil, he was the one who asked us to reach out to chat to you. What's your community like? I know you said you like to record things and do it. Is it quite interactive? What's the feedback been like? Have they found it useful?
Yeah. So it's complicated. So I've got a kind of my community is a little segmented, if that's the right word, because I've got Udemy where it's a large community there of about, I think last count about 140,000 students.
Wow.
I've got my own community at Tech Explorations, which is about, depending on how you count it, say about 20,000 people. And then there's on YouTube, which I think at last count is maybe 16.5 to 70,000 people. It's like I'm starting to put some more emphasis there now. So these are three essentially separated communities. I interact with all of them. But due to time constraints and in order to keep my sanity under control, I'm careful how to do that.
Of course.
In the beginning, when I was, the only community that I really had was the Udemy community. It was growing, especially the first 3 or 4 years. I'd spend about maybe 3 hours every single day interacting with students. Replying to questions, helping them along. But eventually I reached a burnout state where I would feel kind of stressed, and I would get cold sweat thinking that I'd have to go to reply to students. Sounds terrible.
Yeah, it's a lot of pressure. No, it's you feel obliged. They're part of your community. You set this up, so. Yeah. I can well imagine you feel an obligation to look after them as a duty of care there. So it's understandable, but you have to manage your time as well, I suppose, to get that balance right.
So the problem was not really talking to students, but at the same time I had to do all these other things like maintain courses and create new courses. And it was always kind of a roll of the dice every morning where I would clear my student questions first in order to allow uninterrupted time for the rest of the day, and I would never know what might pop up. A question could be answered in, say, 2-3 minutes, but I was always afraid of those other questions that could reveal some problem with my content, like an incorrect solution to a question that would require potentially re-recording an entire lecture, which means 2 days gone. So it would make things very difficult to manage. And I've got to say that in the early days I was a little, not really knowing what I was exactly doing. So I was making a lot of mistakes. Many of them technical, like with audio visual. Yeah. Like audio visual problems. Like, I remember one of my first videos, entire course, I recorded it on a table with no mouse pad. And the microphone was mounted, like hard mounted on the table. So every time I moved the mouse, the sound would just propagate. I didn't realize how bad it was. So stuff like that. And students initially were kind of used to crappy audio from other instructors. But as students were becoming more used to high quality stuff, they started complaining. So that it took like a month to re-record all those lectures.
How many emails were you getting then? You said you'd spend a lot of time going through replying to students' problems. What sort of numbers were you looking at?
So I was looking at statistics at the end of each year. So Udemy would provide some statistics, and it was like 2,000 or 3,000 questions in a year that I would answer. So each question would, again, could be either maybe a quick, good job, doing the right thing, move on.
Yeah.
Or, oh
They're
my
the nice
God, I
ones.
have to redo this whole section all over again because I totally messed up. So anyway, back to now. So I've got a more segmented approach now and more controlled approach. So I've got my own community where students that want to pay a little bit extra can join that community and have basically one-on-one interaction with me and other members of the community. So the kind of segments. Everyone else goes into what I've got a maker club. The Maker Club is free for everyone. It's kind of a more an open-ended type conversations. We talk about technology, we talk about our own projects, but we don't expect that Peter is going to solve every single question and answer every single question that comes in. So usually other members will chip in and help, and it's just amazing because when someone joins, I explain through an automatic message that most members of the community are actually much knowledgeable in the kind of thing that they will be asking, because we've got so many different specialists. So we've got people, for example, that are really, really good programmers, and I'm a crappy programmer. I'm okay, I guess, but not when I'm comparing myself to
It's
those
not
guys.
your particular strength. Yes.
Yeah.
Sure.
Like I see myself as a jack of all trades. So I'm really passionate about the educational aspect, but I'm good enough to be able to put something relatively complicated into simple words for a beginner to understand. And of course, take the beginner into intermediate and in some topics, more advanced stages. But there's just so many other people that have been doing specialized work on things that I could never imagine. Like today, I was talking to someone who is very good at on kernel cross compilation topics on the Raspberry Pi. So he will compile or recompile some sort of Linux operating system with some kind of peculiar kind of drivers for the Raspberry Pi on a Windows 11 computer, which to me, I don't know, where do we start to learn stuff like that? But I was talking to him today. Someone asked a question. I knew he would be able to answer it, so I connected them together, and the answer was forthcoming within a few minutes.
No, but it's a great position to be in as well, to have that community, to have those people that you can lean on. It's interesting what turns engineers on, isn't it? Because I mentioned before, we've got the guys who work for us are a T-shape, so they, just like you, have a wide knowledge of a lot of things, but then have specialisms, whether that's high-powered hardware or FPGA or whatever that may be. But for certain people, they just get obsessed is the wrong word, but they get really into their specialism and sort of deep dive into it, and it's a passion more than anything else. They want to know how it works and what makes it tick.
Absolutely.
Yeah. When did you? I mean, you're obviously an engineer by heart.
Yeah.
When did you first get the bug? When did you start wanting to know how things work?
Oh, okay. I was a kid, obviously. Like I was, for as long as I remember myself, I used to be interested in technology. So I grew up in the 80s, when I actually became conscious, because before that, no memory. But
great time as well with the Spectrum and Amstrad computers and home computers.
Apple IIe.
Get into it. Yeah.
Yeah. I started becoming interested in all the technical stuff, like the first digital watch with an LCD screen kind of fascinated me. VHS video recorders, cassette deck players, audio systems. The computers came a little bit later. So in a house, I would kind of open up things to see what's inside. I was very careful not to loosen the screws because no one knew.
Sure.
Things were so expensive back then. Like to open up
of course.
VHS video recorder was like the jewel of the house. It would be like 3 or 4 salaries. So I was very careful, but I had to know what's inside. So I would carefully open it up. I had a screwdriver. It was my most precious tool. Have a look inside. Touch nothing, just look.
Yeah.
Later on, computers came, though. That was the big one. Like once computers came, my first computer was an Apple IIe, which I purchased, I believe, my dad purchased that for me in 1985 or 6, something like that. Then programming came. Back then computers had an open architecture. It was just so easy to open up the lid, have a look at all the slots, imagine what else can go in. I would hack the speaker. The speaker in the Apple IIe was kind of dingy, so I would put a bigger one in. And then programming. Programming was a revelation. So back then, you didn't really have a fast way to load a program. My Apple IIe didn't come with any kind of media, like a disk drive or cassette tape, so everything had to be typed in.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, it did have a disk. It did have a disk, but programs back then were not really circulating in an easy, like you couldn't download it from GitHub, so you'd have to type it in.
No. Yeah. We had an Amstrad, the first computer in our house, and it came with a book, and you could literally type program like Pong or some really basic games. I remember my dad sitting there for hours. Just typing away with 2 fingers. It's like this.
Like you'd go to to shops like bookstores or convenience store, and we'd buy a magazine that contained computer code, like printed on the magazine pages. So I did that for a long time. And that's how I learned how to type. And I learned BASIC. That was my first language. So after that, it was quite, for me, was obvious that I'd go into engineering of one kind or the other, and that's what I did.
And why did you choose the academic route then, rather than sort of going into industry?
Yeah, I guess...
teaching and educating, or?
Yeah, so again, there was lack of planning, I guess. I did my engineering, then I thought, I don't know enough, I need more. So I went for a master's degree. And that was, in a way, a big mistake. In the sense that once you decide to do postgraduate degrees, then kind of you're with one foot in academia. It really depends on your environment. So I was lucky because I studied my master's at the University of Technology in Sydney. And I had a pretty good team there, professors and like my colleagues were pretty like really nice people. And that kind of influenced me to do 2 things. One was to continue doing postgraduate degrees. So then I did another one, and then I did a PhD because I was working with, back in 2001, I think, with what's called intelligent agents. So these are little programs that back then, they were developed by IBM. And the idea was that the program with its state, so its variables, its data, whatever it might contain, would package itself, and it, as an entity, would jump to another computer and then unpack itself and continue its operation. So I did that for my master's, and it kind of was very exciting for me because there was very interesting research. So then I decided to stay and do more stuff like that. And once you are in a research degree, then the logical next step is to teach. That's how you pay for your fees.
Yeah.
So that's how it happened.
I need to pay this off now. Where's the nearest job? Yeah.
Yeah. So you can do like 2 hours of tutorials, and you get like a couple of $100, and that's enough for the day. That's how it started. And it got a lot worse after that.
If you were, so you've taught, so you must have offered students advice. What if you were, if there's young engineers watching this, or people who've, got a passion for it, they want to sort of learn more, would you prescribe going down the educational route? Would you suggest a more sort of hands-on approach, like an apprenticeship? What would be your advice?
Yeah, look, today things are very, very different because of the internet and online education. So today, for people that are interested in engineering, I'd say definitely get your bachelor's degree. It could be a 4 or even a 5-year bachelor's degree. Try to keep it as short as possible, but very focused. So the first couple of years, make sure you do as many subjects as you can in university just to get exposure, unless you already know exactly what you want to do. In my experience, most students want to do engineering. They know they're good at something, but they don't have a good picture of what is available to them. So the idea is for the first couple of years, as
much as possible.
Yeah. Get experiences, talk to people, participate in groups, online, offline. Like if your university has got some sort of makers club, make sure you join that club, because others like you will be joining. You'll be able to talk to them. Talk to your professors. Take advantage of opportunities to travel. So if you can go to an exciting conference, whether it's an industry conference or an academic conference, industry would be better actually. Yeah. But try to travel if your university somehow can fund that travel. It is possible if you write a paper, you've got some good topics to present from some sort of original research, you can, but depends on the university. So anyway, spend the first few years exploring, right? That's important.
Try before you buy. Yeah,
exactly. Now, once you know what you want to do, focus. Okay, the technological landscape is so broad that you're either going to end up with as a generalist. There is a lot of value in that. Yeah. But I think young minds are very good, not all, but some, right? Very good at focusing. So as what you said about obsession earlier, I think it's the first few years of being exposed into something new that is exciting, that gives you that obsession. And I find that being younger facilitates that better than being older, because once you get a little older, then your mind can start broadening its scope. That's when you become more of not a generalist, but someone who understands more and how things connect. Yeah. But I think it's important to just get the depth in one technology. So it could be, signal processing. It could be robotics. It could be information technology of some sort, programming, of course, but get that focus. So once you have reached that determination that you are very, very interested in something specific, then look at where you can get the most exposure to whatever you've chosen. That could be a company. Many companies are far ahead in the game in particular technologies than academic institutions. So try to work in any capacity, even free, in such a place that you identify. It could be a university. I'm not saying I'm just agnostic now. The point is that if you know what you're looking for, whether it's a university or a private institution or a public university, it doesn't really matter. It could even be an online course. So just be open-minded in order to not miss out on opportunities that otherwise would be possible. And that is, again, that is something that I think is specific to the times that we live now, because 20 years ago, when we didn't really have these opportunities, especially like in terms of internet and communication and online courses and such opportunities, you would have to go to a very good university or maybe a handful of companies. But today things are a lot more complicated. So you need to use artificial intelligence, you need to use search engines very well, and your network of friends and people that know that stuff. So a little bit convoluted as an advice, but just to recap.
It's great advice. Yeah.
Broad spectrum in the beginning and then narrow spectrum as the next step.
You just mentioned AI. We talk about it quite a lot on this podcast. How have you found its impact on the industry so far? So we've talked to video game designers. We've talked to copywriters. They seem to be using it as a beneficial tool to sort of help the creative process more than anything else. Where do you see its place in electronic engineering?
So obviously there's the good, the bad, and the ugly. The productivity gains, the creativity gains that come from responsible use of AI is just outside the chart. Like it's just unbelievable. For people that know their craft, so for people that are already engineers, that know how to make things, how to design machines, software, how to think in an engineering way, AI is good. It is a capability, productivity multiplier like we've never seen before. For students, so people that are now training to become engineers, you got to be very, very careful, because I've seen it. I'm also in the academic board of a couple of universities here in Sydney, and this is one discussion that we have quite frequently as to we are trying to deal with how do we allow our students to use artificial intelligence without crippling their ability to think for themselves. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So it's like in our generation, we kind of had something similar when Google and search engines came out, because we were able to now not go to the university library to find stuff. And we had
library in your pocket.
Yeah, library in the pocket. We were able to access high quality content much quicker. So that kind of accelerated our research time. Like as a researcher myself, I was able to now to find what I was looking in a couple of minutes, and I didn't have to walk to the library.
Rather than, yeah, exactly. It's an hour walk, and then you got to walk around the library, find a book, open it, write it down.
And the book was lent to someone else. You had to
someone
wait
else
3 weeks for it to come
got the book out. Yeah,
it's just horrible. I don't know how people did anything back then. Yeah. So, but what we experienced compared to what students today, have to deal with is just an order of magnitude smaller in terms of impact, because it saved us time back then. Search engines saved us time. Today, artificial intelligence acts as your second brain, which in many things is smarter than you, and it knows more than you. So we have to be very careful not to make young people dependent on artificial intelligence in a way that it substitutes their ability to think. So whatever the question is, I'm going to ask ChatGPT. So that's the ugly. Okay. So the good is for anyone who is already a capable, not just engineer, capable marketer, a capable professional in whatever capacity. Mm-hmm. It's a multiplier of capability. And unfortunately for others, it is going to be very dangerous. I can see there'll be
situations on it. Do you think?
Yeah, people rely and they don't train the muscle. The brain is a muscle. If you don't train it, essentially you lose it. You become dependent on the AI. So that's a whole different conversation. And as an educator, I think about it a lot. Mm. And there are some strategies that we can use. But it's a whole different. I don't know if you want to get into this. But, sorry.
Yeah, no. I mean, it's an open conversation. I think it's really interesting. I think that I suppose that if you think if you're an engineer, you need to obviously sort of learn the language or learn what your specialism is in, and then you have to make mistakes, and that's the only way that you learn. You don't learn a lot from achievement, but if you're reliant on open up ChatGPT, whatever the platform is, and saying I need this code to be able to scrape this data or be able to put it into this processor or whatever that is, and it creates it for you, and then if it doesn't work for whatever reason, you can't diagnose where the issues are because you've not written in the first place.
Exactly. It's like you're lost. Okay, you're lost. Speaking about, so for example, technologies like the Arduino, when I started using ChatGPT, it was 3.5 a couple of years ago. It was okay. It would create some code, definitely a variation of Blink. Would do PWM. It would do stuff that were quite okay. But it was at an elementary stage. Now I can get it to write code that it would use ESP32, connect to a Wi-Fi network, go to if this and that, send some data, get the response back, write a file or store data in a database, and then send me an email notification. And it can do that flawlessly. So I feel that if I didn't know what Arduino code looked like and how it worked, and if I started like that, I would probably never learn how to program an Arduino on my own, because I wouldn't have to. So that the impetus
why would you? It's
to
just
learn,
there, isn't it? Yeah,
wouldn't be there. So got to be very careful about that. And like, I guess in the industry, when you have new graduates in whatever discipline that might be, it could be hospitality, economics, technology. You get new graduates. So the next few years, when they're going to start graduating from the current crop of students, one of the things that hiring managers would have to do would be to figure out how much these students actually know versus how much they think they know, because they've got the support of an AI behind them. No, good universities, I'm not too worried about good universities. They have processes in place to ensure that the quality is maintained, and the graduates will be top tier no matter what kind of technology they use. But you can't be sure for everyone. So, that's something that will start becoming important in the next couple of years.
Yeah, it's an interesting issue, isn't it? I mean, when I went to university, there was the big issue at the time was so I graduated in 2003, 2004. So I had a Windows computer. I don't think I had access to the internet at home, but certainly at university we did. And the problem the university were facing there were, of course, people getting hold of papers, using existing content and, just copy and paste jobs. So it's kind of like the next level up from that, I suppose.
Yeah. I work with AI now every single day. I feel that I have a team behind me doing important work. And I feel my productivity has gone off the roof because of that. But I am very careful. So every single bit of code that comes out of it, I test it, I read it, make sure that I understand it, I can modify it. I only get it to do things that I understand, that I would be able to do myself. It would just take me like 3 or 4 days instead of 5 minutes. That's the type of work that I get AI to do for me. But I'm still trying to establish some kind of operational parameters. How do I
have some barriers in place?
And it's a moving goalpost, because it just constantly changes. The capabilities, and like now you have multimodal artificial intelligence. I have to get used to talking to the computer, because it does speed things up as well. And then it speaks back to me, and I feel like, because the voice quality that comes back from these systems now is just perfect. I was just playing with Google AI Playground, and the audio, like the voice that comes back from the computer with human kind of
inflections.
Like you'll make a mistake, we'll apologize, or I make a mistake and I say oops, and it will respond like a human.
They'll start swearing next. That'll be the next step, won't it? Yeah.
You never know.
What was the most interesting problem that you've been asked from one of your students or in the community that's come across your desk? That was a real challenge.
Most interesting problem, because right now I'm working with PCBs, or one of my courses is KiCad like a Pro. I've got a couple of courses actually there, and a question that does come up, not frequently, but once a student reaches a certain level, is they want to create more complicated PCBs. So initially in my courses on KiCad, I'd show people how to create something like a Raspberry Pi hat with a few sensors and buttons, or a shield for an Arduino, or like a clone ESP32 device. And those things are quite easy to build because they are low speed and they don't require too many components. And that means that you don't have to worry about all these intricacies that PCB designers have to worry about when they design things that operate in much larger speeds and contain more components in a smaller amount of space. So I won't give you a single question, but the nature of these questions have been pretty much consistent, is how do we design higher speed circuits that are also using smaller components, like components that you can't really solder with your hand. You need some kind of robotic device to operate. So that takes you to the level of basically designing a computer, which is what my last KiCad Like a Pro course did to an extent, and what my next one is going to do to the full extent. So now I rank student questions in a way based on what my interests are. So if students ask me things that I'm myself very interested about, then they go up the rankings. So they become, they go into my, this is probably going to be a good course kind of list. So that's the top one. So my next course is going to be about designing a, computer essentially with high-speed interfaces, lots of miniaturization, integrated circuits on it, RAM, communications, disk interfaces, and things like that. So yeah, maybe it's going to. So I've never done something like this. That's another thing I should disclose right now. So I've never done something like this. Yeah. I've done up to the level below that. But there's always the first time. The principles are documented, and just like you're talking about Ignis earlier, Ignis earlier, and that you have a peer review process, and I do the exact same thing. So I actually have a peer review process, especially for high stakes content, where a error can cause catastrophic consequences to my course and reputation.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
I cross-check things. So this is going to be the same thing where I will do the design, do the design, cross-check it with third parties for design qualities, fix errors. Then that's going to become content for my next course. Yeah. So it's probably not a fully satisfying answer because it's like
no, I think it's really exciting.
I don't get groundbreaking questions, but questions like that, okay, they always make me think about, this student asks an intelligent question because they understood stuff that are important and they are ready for the next thing. And I find that those questions are really good. So they show initiative, and they show that they know what they're talking about, and the questions relate that.
It shows the passion as well, doesn't it? That's they're ready for the next step. They want it and they're excited for it. So that's great. It's fantastic. All right, Peter, this has been really enjoyable. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you. Thank you for inviting me.
Hi, I'm Neil. I'm the host of Another Bright Spark podcast. It's a podcast hosted by Ignis. Who are Ignis, you're probably asking? Well, Ignis are an ethical engineering company. We're based here in Nottingham. We have a bunch of really talented hardware engineers and a equally talented bunch of software engineers. We work in the electronic space, and throughout that space, we meet lots of interesting people. So we thought it would be a great opportunity to get these people, sit down and chat to them and have a podcast.
The fact that we want that physical object, and we still go through the process of putting it in, needle on the thing, and scratchy sound, but we still get to enjoy that. There is something fundamentally tactile.
I'll read one comment, or one will just come up on the app, and it'll just sort of sticky, because it's real criticism. That's the thing, and as a content creator, or YouTuber, it can't be anything but personal.
But giving people the freedom to be able to post content and actively encouraging them to get involved in it has a lot more success.
We used to say it would be 3 to 4% of a graduating class at university might think about doing entrepreneurship, and only half of them, if that, would try. Now you've got 25-30% of a class thinking about it.
And what you end up is a battle of the bots. You've got them using AI to try to do something, and me saying to my AI, so suddenly we've now got bot wars. AI bot wars.
Hosted by Craig Charles.
Exactly.
We have some great guests with some amazing stories coming up. You don't want to miss out. If you've got an idea of a guest for us, let us know in the comments below. Otherwise, make sure you're subscribed. You really don't want to miss it. Thanks for watching.